Hi guys, I'm Grant Nelson and welcome to Mustache Off Grid. Hi guys, Grant Nelson again here with the Mustache Off Grid YouTube channel. In case you're new to the channel, I cover various off-grid and homesteading topics. I live off-grid in southern Missouri in a log cabin that I built by hand. And the goal of my channel is to promote self-sufficiency and off-grid living. If I can help someone that's wanting to get into the lifestyle do it, that's what I want. I want more people to be doing it. I want to create a how can I say, a movement behind it. Anyway, I'm going to have my email here if you guys have any questions, comments, topics you'd like me to cover. You can also follow me on X at Grant Offgrid 54, which I'll also put that down there. And I'll be posting the videos on X as well. That's a new thing I started. I figured it'd be good to help promote the channel so I could get it to more people. But I wanted to get into a couple things here. And things have been good out here. The homestead's good. Garden is wonderful. I've got a really good irrigation system set up. Weather's been nice. Work's been slow. All the animals are healthy and just living a life of abundance right now. 5 years in and I have things set perfectly. And I'm finally at the point I can kind of just maintain things. I'm still building things here and there, adding things to become more self-sufficient. But at the end of the day, right now it's about maintaining, figuring things out, fine-tuning things. Like I got my irrigation system set up, which I'm going to put a video of that in this video for you guys to watch. So I'm going to put that in right now just so you can see. And the next thing I wanted to get into is the homestead movement has really, it seems to me, been slowing down. It's always kind of been a little bit more conservative leaning. There's some libertarian kind of mixed in, and then there's some of like the hippie types mixed in, but in general I'd say majority of the homestead movement has been from conservative and libertarian side of the aisle. There's also a big movement for homesteading in the prepper communities for preparedness, but it really seems like it's slowing down. Ever since Trump got in office, it seemed like at first, you know, Thomas Massey was talking about doing some stuff with the raw milk and things, and you had RFK Jr. in there, Joel Salatin. You've got these guys that were supposed to be fighting for homestead freedom, and they're still actually doing a few things that may be good, it seems like to me. But it also seems like there's a whole lot of nothing going on with it. But society's kind of been at a standstill. Things are getting more and more expensive. Inflation's getting higher. Gas is getting more expensive. We've got wars all over the world. And all I wanted to say here in this video was, if you're thinking about homesteading, shout it from the highest mountaintop. Try to get your friends involved with it. You know, I'm not a big believer in the communal style of living with communes, but that may be a good way to get yourself a 10-acre plot, because there are plots of land that cost $50,000 that are 10 acres. And if you got 5 people and you got a lawyer involved for maybe a few grand, and you got it split in a way that, and written up contractually that each person spends 10 grand, you could each get a plot of that land. So there are things you can do to try to get pieces of land cheaper in a way with that. And also I've kind of come more around to that idea, as I think things would be a lot easier with more people as I live out here by myself. I'm not wanting to start a commune or anything, but it has crossed my mind, like, man, I wonder, you know, I've got all this land, it would be nice to share it with someone. But anyway, promote the movement, spread the word, get it out to everyone. And truly, I believe right now, we see the stuff in our country with the Epstein files, nothing being done. They move on to Iran. There's so many things being done that are completely unconstitutional, completely against everything that was ran on and promised. And I think a lot of people are losing patience with it, more than a lot, probably over half. And the point I'm getting at here with all that is the only way for real change, for the people to make real change, is to actually leave the system that they have set up for us. They expect us to use fiat currency dollars. They don't expect people to barter and trade or start using a private currency, which those do exist, by the way, that are backed by gold and silver. They don't expect people to stop using gasoline or use less gasoline. They don't expect people to use less electricity and get rid of their televisions. They don't expect people to make radical change and quit their jobs and move out to the land for a new life. But the truth be told is that that is the only way that anything will happen, is if you don't participate in the system to the highest extent you can. I'm not saying that you can't participate in the system, but taking every step in every different way that you can to not participate is the only way for real change, with our government, with our nation, with the world, with the way things are ran. And I figure, you know, if you dream of homesteading, and there's probably a lot of people watching this video that do, as far as that goes, read, plan for 6 months, plan for however long you need, and do it. The hardest part of it is actually being willing to pull the trigger on it. Some people are so analytical, myself included, that they'll think about something and then it's gone. The land's not getting cheaper. Nothing's getting cheaper. There's less and less of it every day available. The only way to do it is to do it. And you do need to plan it. I'm not talking about just going out there and, you know, making rash decisions. I'm talking about planning it. But if it looks good, it feels good, you're able to do it, pull the trigger. And there's a lot of people also probably watching this video that dream of doing it, that are probably making every excuse in the book for why they can't do it. I've noticed that so much online. And the truth is, when I went off grid, I said to myself, I was working in the stock market, by the way. I had a very good job, 6-figure job, 6-figure salary. I'd worked my way up the ladder. I was a workhorse, and I still am. But it was hard for me to quit because I was 27 years old. And in my mind, one day I looked in the mirror and I said, you know, if I don't do this now, I'm never going to do it. And that was the truth. And it was during COVID. And I said to myself, you know, the Lord has actually put me in a spot that I can do it. I'm throwing away being a future millionaire, which I was throwing that away by leaving that job at that time. But at the end of the day, you know, how much is your soul worth? How much is your peace of mind worth? you know, I looked at it and I said, you know, if I do this another 5 to 10 years, I'll be a multi-millionaire. But then I also looked and I said, by that time I'm going to be old, I'm going to be bald, I'm going to be in bad health. And I realized I can do it, and that you are allowed to quit. In our country, we have voluntary employment. Slavery is illegal. It was banned a long time ago. So all I'm saying is that if you think you can't do it, and you have some savings, and you want to do it, but you want more savings, really think about, are you actually going to do it, or are you just going to procrastinate on it and just think about it forever and, you know, never do it? And I'm not saying that you will be successful, but all investments have risk, and there's no such thing as zero risk. And all the how can I say, all the people that win in life have to take some sort of risk at some point. Whether it is, you know, maybe asking someone to marry you. Maybe it is trying a new job. Maybe it's moving to a new house. Maybe it is, but if you do the same thing over and over again, it's the definition of insanity. And keep in mind, guys, I'm just, no script here, I'm just thinking about this, what I want to say here. If you do the same thing over and over again, you're not going to get different results. But it takes a rash decision, it takes a radical change to pull the trigger on something despite the risk. And with great risk can come great reward. The founding fathers founded this country, and they took a great risk doing that. You know, when they signed the Declaration of Independence, they all knew that it was basically a declaration of their own deaths, that they were going to be political prisoners or political enemies of the state of Britain. And I think, you know, this country has really lost that spirit because we've all become content and comfortable. But like I said, you know, the risk has to be taken to achieve great things. When someone climbs Mount Everest, and many have failed, but many have actually climbed it, they all take a risk when they do it. And when they reach that mountaintop, they accomplish that goal. I imagine that they feel some sort of satisfaction from that. And they'll always be able to say that they climbed Mount Everest. See, I'm not much for that type of achievement. I'm more a type of achievement where you actually gain something that lasts. See, that's a short-term gain. But creating yourself a life that's self-sufficient, where you got food that's not grown with glyphosate to give you cancer, where you got nature around you. You know, nature is not, everyone goes camping or goes on vacation or likes to go fishing or hunting, but they don't, they do it as like a hobby. But the truth is that nature is not a place you visit. Nature is a place that you should be immersed in. We shouldn't have to go somewhere to see nature. It should be around us at all times. Maybe right now, you might be able to hear the birds and the bugs buzzing. And it's something about it that you might not hear that noise in the city or in the town or wherever you're at. Maybe you're not in nature. And that noise is a good noise. I can hear the wind right now. You can hear the wind a lot of places. But the noise of man's technology seems to just cover it all. But all I wanted to say in this video really you know, with everything that I was talking about here, I just wanted to say, if you're thinking about homesteading, you're thinking about going off grid, do it, you know? Like, think about it all you want, but if you have the money to buy it and go do it. And if you don't have the money to buy it, start a plan to get there. But in the end of the day, sometimes we convince ourselves in our mind that, oh, we're just not ready. We're just not ready. You know, I remember when I really got really close with the Lord when I moved out here off grid. And my neighbors came and I would talk with them once in a while. This was when I was staying in a tent out here. And slowly I built it up to a nice homestead today. I was staying in a tent and they said, they invited me to church. I said, oh, I'm not really ready to go to church yet because I was staying in a tent. You know, I'd have to boil water to get cleaned up, which I did daily. And I'd have to do a lot of things. I said, oh, I'm not really ready to, I made every excuse in my mind. I'm not really ready to go to church. And I told them I wanted to get closer with the Lord, but I'm not really ready. And at that time in my life, I was cussing like a sailor. You know, I didn't really know anything about the Bible. As far as my actions in life, they didn't reflect a godly person. And I didn't know. All I knew was Jesus forgives. That's all I knew. I didn't really know anything else. And so I declined my neighbor's invite to church. And maybe like a month later, they invited me again. I said, oh, I'm not ready. And then maybe like another month later, they asked me again. And I said, oh, I'm not really ready. And they said, well, why don't you just come anyway? They pressured me a little bit. And I said, well, I don't have a Bible. And they said, oh, we got one for you. We buy Bibles just to give out. So they gave me a Bible, and I think they gave me a Bible actually earlier than that, but I remember they gave me a Bible, and I read the whole Bible later on. I'm on my second time through, and not including all just the regular studies and stuff I go through, but I was making every excuse in my mind to just, oh, I'm not ready. And I wasn't, because it would have been uncomfortable to do it. And change can't happen without a little bit of uncomfortability usually. Usually change is not comfortable, and people don't like new things naturally. But after a while, they might actually start to adjust to it. But I went, and I started to learn more about what the Bible actually says. I started to actually read the Bible. I started to actually get in the Word. And my mind and my spirit and my body completely changed from there. And I thank them for bringing the gospel to me. And it's one of those things, it's the same thing in your journey, you know, wanting to go off-grid or homestead. Maybe in your mind you're making excuses. Well, that would be uncomfortable. Well, that would be tight financially. Well, that would be this. Well, I've got this job. I can't quit my job. Maybe it's just one of those things where you actually can do it. You're just treading water. You know, you just want it to be comfortable when you do it. And I remember the first day that I moved off grid, I was so stressed out from the office. I remember sleeping on the ground, you know, in the tent. And I woke up the next morning and I said, wow, I feel great. I feel awesome. Everything was lifted off my shoulders. But anyway, if you think you can't do it, you can do it. And I just wanted to tell you guys that today. Really, I hope that maybe something I said resonated. What do you guys think? You think that my advice is bad? Do you think my advice is good? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. God bless, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Sit. Sit. Good boy. Good boy. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make Bailey famous for YouTube. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and thank you for watching.